What if the woman who knows all his secrets finally speaks out? I know everything. These chilling words from Song Joong-ki's wife have just shattered the silence surrounding his painful breakup with Song Hye Kyo. What did she uncover? And why now? Let's dive into the truth behind the drama, only on Red Carpet Revealed. Stay with us. When Song Joong-ki and Song Hye Kyo tied the knot in October 2017, the world celebrated what seemed like a perfect love story. Fans called it the descendants of the sun fairy tale, and every photograph of the couple exuded elegance, harmony, and the kind of affection that made you believe in forever. But forever, as we would learn, has its own rules. Less than 2 years later, that picture-perfect world came crashing down. Song Joong-ki's announcement of divorce shocked the nation. His statement was brief, almost too calculated. Song Hye Kyo's was vague, citing differences in personalities. No fights were public, no scandals exposed. The silence was deafening. Until now, I know everything, she said. The woman behind that voice? Katy Louise Saunders, Song Joong-ki's wife since early 2023. Until now, she had remained a figure of grace and discretion, rarely giving interviews, never commenting on the actor's past. But everything changed during a recent closed-door charity event in Italy, where Katy, in an off-script emotional moment, revealed more than anyone expected. Red Carpet Revealed has received exclusive access to a private conversation between Katy and several attendees. It wasn't a planned press release. It wasn't PR polished. It was real, and raw. He cried to me once, she began. Not like an actor rehearsing a role. He cried because no one had ever let him speak his truth. What truth? We asked. And her answer will shake everything you thought you knew about Korea's most iconic breakup. According to Katy, Song Joong-ki's relationship with Song Hye Kyo was never truly balanced. He admired her too much, Katy confessed. He placed her on a pedestal. But the problem with pedestals is, you're always looking up, and never side by side. Sources close to the couple revealed that while the world saw romance, the reality was a growing emotional gap. Song Hye Kyo, with her towering success and aura of mystery, had always guarded her inner world. Song Joong-ki, on the other hand, was more open, more vulnerable, too vulnerable. Felt like he had to keep earning her love, Katy shared. He told me once, I never felt enough for her, not even on our wedding day. The statement left the room frozen. What truly confirmed Katy's suspicions was something unexpected. A set of handwritten letters Song Joong-ki kept in a private drawer in their Rome home. I never meant to find them, Katy said. But when I did, I asked him directly. And he didn't stop me. He just said, if you want to understand my past, read it. The letters, written between 2018 and 2019, were never sent. They were journal-like confessions addressed to no one and everyone. In them, Song Joong-ki detailed his feelings of growing isolation, the emotional coldness in their shared home, and his yearning for a partner who could see him as more than just Joong-ki the public figure. One line stood out above all. Sometimes, I think I married her shadow, not the real her. Katy was quick to clarify that her intent was never to smear Song Hye Kyo. She's not a villain, she said. They were never meant to be. He married the idea of her, and she married a version of him that couldn't last in real life. In the glitz and pressure of Korea's entertainment industry, perfection is demanded, and vulnerability is punished. Song Joong-ki, according to Katy, became a victim of his own devotion. He gave everything, but received silence in return. It made him doubt himself, his worth, his talent, even his future, Katy explained. Final straw, Katy revealed, came during a winter night in 2019, weeks before the divorce announcement. The couple had returned from a promotional trip. A trivial disagreement, about schedules, erupted into a silence that lasted for days. He told me he waited for her to say something. Anything. But she never did, Katy said. That silence was louder than any fight could have been. According to her, Song Joong-ki packed his things and moved out that very night. No yelling, no dramatic goodbye, just stillness. Post-divorce, Song Joong-ki threw himself into work. His projects gained global attention, Vincenzo, Reborn Rich, but his smiles were mechanical, his eyes tired. That's when Katy came into his life. At a time when he didn't believe he deserved love again, she said. But I didn't fall in love with the celebrity. Saw the broken man underneath, and I stayed. Her voice trembled as she added, that's why I said I know everything. Not to accuse, but to heal the version of him who never got to say goodbye properly. What followed Katy's quiet confession in that room in Rome was a wave of shocked silence. No one had expected her to speak with such clarity, such empathy, and yet, such undeniable authority. She hadn't lived through the marriage between Song Joong-ki and Hye Kyo, but somehow, it was as if she had felt every crack in it. Katy's truth didn't come from malice. It came from love, an unconditional, nurturing kind of love that Song Joong-ki, perhaps, had never known before. He used to flinch at kindness, she admitted, as if it wasn't something he believed he was allowed to receive. After years of being seen only as an image, a leading man, and a vessel of public expectation, Joong-ki was a man craving simplicity. He told me once he just wanted to eat with someone in silence and not feel judged, Katy added, her voice soft. That broke my heart. How can a man so adored by the world feel so unseen? Years following the divorce were not kind to him emotionally. Though professionally he soared, winning accolades and starring in hits. There was always a sense of something unfinished. Friends close to the actor began to notice a change in him after 2019. He no longer spoke about the past. The light in his smile had dimmed. He avoided places that reminded him of their time together, and perhaps most tellingly, he stopped attending events where she might appear. Katy didn't push him to talk. She waited. She gave him space. It wasn't until a rainy evening in Italy, just months before their son was born, that he finally opened up. They were walking along the Arno River when he paused under a bridge and said, do you want to know why I left her? She simply nodded. She stopped looking at me like I mattered, he said. Became convenient. A husband on paper. Name beside hers. But not a person. Not anymore. Sentence haunted her, and it gave her clarity. Katy realized then that her husband's pain wasn't rooted in betrayal or scandal. It came from emotional starvation. He hadn't been broken by something dramatic. He had been slowly hollowed out by silence. Asked whether she blamed Hye Kyo, Katy shook her head. She is who she is. She's elegant, poised, and deeply private. But Joong-ki needed warmth. He needed someone who would take off the mask with him. What came next was perhaps the most unexpected part of Katy's confession, the way she described Hye Kyo's own pain. I think she was hurting too, she said. She just couldn't show it. Maybe she didn't know how? That insight caught everyone off guard. It would have been easy to paint a villain and a victim, to frame this as another story of celebrity heartbreak and betrayal. But Katy wasn't interested in simple narratives. She was offering something more difficult, truth, in all its grayness. Red Carpet Revealed reached out to one of Song Joong-ki's longtime stylists, who confirmed that during the last months of his marriage, Joong-ki would often arrive at fittings with barely a word to say. He looked polished on the outside, but he never joked anymore. He never smiled with his eyes. We knew something was wrong. Now, in hindsight, those signs make painful sense. After their marriage ended, Hye Kyo also retreated into herself. She took on quieter roles, traveled more, and rarely gave personal interviews. In the few public statements she made, her tone remained restrained, almost mechanical. When asked in one interview about love, she simply responded, I think some people come into your life to teach you how strong you are. For years, fans speculated endlessly about what had really ended the Song couple. Rumors of betrayal, schedule clashes, even secret disagreements about children circled endlessly online. But nothing ever stuck. No one ever truly knew. And no one said a word, until now. One of the most poignant parts of Katy's revelation was how she described Song Joong-ki's journey of forgiveness. He doesn't hate her, she said. He actually hopes she finds peace. That's what makes him beautiful. Katy's words echoed like a soft thunderclap, gentle but unforgettable. Behind closed doors, Joong-ki had apparently written one last unsent letter to Hye Kyo just before filing for divorce. According to Katy, he never mailed it. But she read it. His permission. It read, I'm sorry we met at the wrong time, with the wrong understanding of love. I hope one day, you laugh without weight in your heart. I'll always thank you for being part of my story, even if we didn't write the ending together. That letter, now tucked away in a private drawer, stands as the only closure he ever gave her. And perhaps, the only one she ever received. Today, Song Joong-ki is living a quiet life between South Korea and Italy, focusing on fatherhood and screenwriting. He is said to be working on a deeply personal project, his first original script, rumored to reflect themes of regret, forgiveness, and emotional rebirth. As for Katy, she remains his quiet anchor. He's finally at peace, she told us. But it took a long time, and it took telling the truth, not just to me, but to himself. When asked why she chose now to speak, she looked out the window and smiled faintly. Because stories deserve to end properly, and silence should never be the final word. The audience who once cheered for Joong-ki and Hye Kyo may never get the reunion they dreamed of, but what they now have is far more real, understanding. Love, even when it ends, leaves behind truths worth telling. Today, thanks to one woman's courage to say "I know everything," the world finally knows